America has made the pig such an important meat in this country. If the pork disappears, it would damn near destroy the economy. I remember even as a child when we would travel down to Georgia to visit my grandparents, I remember all of the restaurant signs. It would be restaurant signs advertising breakfast and I just remember bacon and ham and eggs and all that stuff would always be up on the billboard, no matter what restaurant it was or diner or hole in the wall down there. And there were plenty of those. And, now that I think back, if I have any regrets, I wish this was one meat that was never introduced to me. I really do. I stopped eating pork about 10 years ago, and I haven't touched it since. And you don't really miss it. I think some people think they would miss it if they didn't have it anymore. I actually don't miss it. I really don't. I mean, this is a really filthy beast. And when you look at how they're packed in here, these animals don't even have enough room to turn. You can tell it's all about money. Look at how they live. And they're in these pens just piled on top of each other like that. And I also remember another time when I was pregnant, I was at the OG, oh my God, OBGYN, I can't even think. And there was a German doctor on TV, and he was saying that nobody on this planet should be touching the pork at all. He said it's bad for everybody. And he was getting into talking about how it changes the DNA when you eat it, how it changes the DNA in your body. And it has to be true because I tell you what, it really devastates the health, especially of people in the Black community. Got gout and high blood pressure and heart disease. And a lot of this is linked directly to the diets that we have been eating all along. And it's not all entirely our fault. A lot of this was introduced to us back during chattel slavery. And we didn't get the best part of the pig either. Our forefathers sure didn't. And it was just food that was passed down through the generations. And I remember even as a child, there were a lot of elderly people that were sick, but back then I was not linking it to the pork like I certainly do now. But this beast really was put on the earth to keep it clean, not to eat. It's when you look in the biblical text, it's not even considered food. It's not. I mean, the pig has its purpose, but the purpose should not be on your plate. All right, so this is NPR, May 14th, 2020. Millions of pigs will be euthanized as pandemic cripples meatpacking plants. I'm going to go ahead and play this audio from NPR for you.
Now to just one of the many unintended consequences of the pandemic. Pork is getting more expensive. Meat processing plants are being shut down because some meat packers have been getting ill. With some plants closed and others running at reduced capacity and nowhere to safely put their pigs, farmers are facing a very difficult decision. NPR's Tim Mack investigates an unprecedented crisis on American hog farms.
Third-generation farmer Chad Lehman's place is about 130 miles southwest of Chicago. We're standing outside one of his barns looking at dozens of healthy, active and large pigs.
These pigs should be gone. This building should be completely washed, disinfected, and ready for baby pigs to come in.
A lot of Americans are worried about not being able to get pork at the supermarket, but farmers like Lehman worry about having way too many pigs. Lehman is making his rounds on the farm, driving around in his truck a 2006 Dodge Ram. Lehman, also a board member of the Illinois Pork Producers Association, was frank about the difficulties ahead.
Nationwide as an industry, we're thinking right now, given what we know, somewhere between 5 and 10 million.
That's between 5 and 10 million pigs, animals that farmers like Chad Lehman will need to euthanize and dispose of in coming months. To understand the issues with the pork supply chain, we have to dive deep into how hogs are produced and processed.
Much of America believes their food originates in a grocery store. They don't realize that this protein is being grown out here in the country. Farmers that have done this for many years, oftentimes multi-generational families.
Before the coronavirus crisis, pork production was a finely tuned, just-in-time supply chain. Pork is uniquely vulnerable to a bottleneck because pigs can't easily be held for more than 6 months after birth. Any longer and the hogs grow too large, more than 300 pounds, and processors won't buy them.
The system is built for certain size pigs to go to the processor and to be in the barns.
That's Heather Hill, another multi-generational hog farmer. She lives in Greenfield, Indiana.
Even by tweaking their diets and trying to slow down how fast they're growing, the pigs are still going to continue to get bigger.
She and her husband sell 30,000 pigs to market per year and typically send 500 to 600 pigs to slaughter each week. But for now, they're holding more pigs on the farm than they typically do.
So each load of pigs we can't sell, it definitely creates a domino effect where we have a backlog of pigs, if you will.
The pigs are being held back because meatpacking plants are hobbled by the coronavirus crisis. Jason Lusk is the head of the Agricultural Economics Department at Purdue University.
An important thing to recognize is the concentrated nature of the meatpacking sector. The 15 largest pork packing plants process 60% of all hogs in this country. And in times like this, it means that if one of those packing plants go down, it's a non-trivial share of our total production.
But it's not just one plant. According to the Food and Environmental Reporting Network, 3 meatpacking plants and 5 processed food plants are currently closed because more than 13,000 meatpacking and food processing workers have tested positive for COVID-19. Lusk explains that at the current rate of diminished pork processing capacity, the numbers add up quick.
Yeah, so if you take 200,000 hogs a day that are being left on the farm and you continue that on for a week, then that's 1 million extra pigs that would have gone to market, but instead are staying on the farm from just 1 week of 40% reduced capacity.
Most farmers don't want to talk about the prospect of euthanizing their pigs. We're back on Chad Lehman's farm in Illinois, following his morning routine.
What the challenge has become now is that we didn't realize how long these plants were going to be down. And so now the problem is going to linger for far longer than we thought. I mean, I think we're going to have shipping disruptions now till at least July or August.
The tragedy of euthanizing millions of pigs is compounded by the fact that other parts of America face unemployment, poverty, and hunger. But without meat processing, you can't turn pigs into pork.
There's conversations going on every day to figure out, okay, how can we most efficiently and humanely do this? This is not euthanizing half a dozen animals. This is thousands and millions of animals. So this is just an unforeseen calamity, really.
And beyond just killing the hogs, there's an open question about what to do with the many, many 300-pound carcasses. The large numbers prevent easy solutions, like giving away the pigs to food pantries, for which they would have to go through processing plants. One possibility is the disposal of carcasses in massive landfills. And to make matters worse, this weekend a polar vortex swept through the Midwest, freezing some of Lehman's emerging crop of soybeans, which he uses to feed pigs. This means he'll have to replant acres and acres of soybeans, even as he deals with the pork crisis.
my wife and I have a long-standing kind of joke between us. She'll always say, "Well, Chad, you know, it could be worse," and I say, "I know, but it could be better."
Layman says that it's in the nature of a farmer to be resilient. Tim Mack, NPR News, Eureka, Illinois.
All right, y'all. You know, you don't realize how much of a domino effect this has on the economy just with pigs. So now, if your farmers can't get rid of these animals, which many of them are saying now, because everything has slowed down a lot due to COVID virus just ravishing these workers at these meat packing plants. Now, they're right. If you got pigs 300 pounds each, now you got to figure out what the hell you going to do with these animals. And, you know, over the years, I still eat some meat, but I eat far less than what I used to eat years ago. And there are people, they just love the hell out of pork, and they eat it all the time. So if this disappears, it will have a huge impact on the economy because they invested so much into pigs in this country, really worldwide. So it's already a meat shortage going on in America because they're selling the bulk of the meat to China. It's going over there. And the little bit that's left is now being rationed. You're only allowed so many packs of meat. But y'all, please tell me what you think. I mean, I know many of us are not pork eaters, but this is another huge blow to America's economy because they just weighed so much on this pig, eating it really for centuries now. They've been eating the pig. So farmers are now complaining they're not going to make money on these animals because processing plants won't take them if they're too big. And I don't think I've ever told you this, but my grandfather on my dad's side was a sharecropper. And when he was a sharecropper, this is what he did. He raised pigs. And he taught me a little bit about it that I vaguely remember when I was a child. But, this is what he did. When he was a sharecropper, he raised pigs and he took care of them until they got a certain age. And then they were sent off to slaughter. And he did sharecropping for many years, like a lot of Black men in the South. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.